I want to begin by pointing out that two of the things that make humans unique is they use language and music to share experiences. Every history of humanity includes the use of language and music. From the first vocal sounds, to the drawings in caves, from drums and smoke signals, to carvings on stone and rock, from telephone and television, to the internet. People share experiences. It has produced who we are today as a species. So, what does that have to do with veterans' history videos, you might ask? Veterans are not always comfortable sharing their military experiences. Perhaps the most unique experiences of their life. Family and friends do not relate to those experiences very well, only other vets can relate. Some are so traumatic that the vet chooses to forget. Others may have been fine. I had a great experience, the adventure of my life just out of high school. But those who do share their experiences agree that the military changed their lives and them as a person. Most of the vets I've done videos with say they grew up in the military. But too often their individual stories are never heard. Unless someone records these stories. Those who do share their experiences leave their family a precious history. And a priceless trove of first-person histories for researchers who study wars. The Veterans History Project at the Library of Congress has made it possible to archive these stories for future generations. Each story is unique and priceless. I have had the honor of recording the experiences of veterans of World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and Desert Storm. So here are a few veterans' histories that I have produced. Bill Wilhelm was one of my first histories. We'll hear from Bill in a moment. Billy Grimwalda, one of the first women to enlist. Bob Vander Haven was a pilot who transported the first wave of paratroopers to the landing zones on D-Day. Johnny Hurtado, a young man who chose the service over jail time and wound up manning a gun on a helicopter in Vietnam. Bernie Simon, one of the most unusual stories, a German Jew was incarcerated in Auschwitz just after Kristallnacht. His mother arranged his release and he wound up on a boat to Mexico, which stopped in Cuba where he got off. The boat he had been on was not allowed to disembark any of the passengers in Mexico and they all were returned to Germany. Bernd later got a visa to the US and eventually joined the US Army and wound up flying a B-24 out of Italy as a radio intercept operator, sending German fighter planes on wild goose chases.
My name is William Welch Wilhelm, and I was born in Illinois, in McDonough County near Macomb, Illinois, M-A-C-O-M-B, and that was the 25th day of February 1922. Makes me 85 today. And I grew up there. We lived right on a farm, actually, in the farm country. But my dad was not into farming. He was an automotive mechanic and had his own garage there. And so I grew up in his automotive repair shop, and this plays an important part later on. And so I see a lot of them going in the Navy and going into the Army. And I didn't know anything about the Marine Corps, hardly at all. I was riding my motorcycle one day down past the post office, and there's a big silver and blue banner blowing in the breeze. It says, "Join the U.S. Marine Corps and see the world." And I thought, well, you know, that might even get me out of the draft. I parked the bike and went in and talked to the guy, and gosh, he showed me pictures of beautiful sandy beaches, you know, and palm trees and dancing girls, and I said, oh my gosh, where do I sign, you know? So first thing you know, I've signed up for the Marine Corps. And in about 13 months, I believe it was, we were sent over to Midway Island, and so I spent the rest of my time, no, not the rest of my time, I spent, I don't know, a year or so over there at Midway Island. So I asked him if I could have a corner in there someplace for a welding shop because I needed someplace to weld here. So I had me a corner of the welding, or a corner of the, the back part of the hangar. But I don't know what happened, and nobody ever found out exactly. But as the Dawn Patrol came in, they were F-4Us, the Corsairs. And as that patrol came in, the major's right-hand wing, they always made a pass over before they came in to make their approach. And the major's right-hand wingman, as they made the pass over at about 5,000 feet, something like that, he all of a sudden just went over, forward, and down, almost vertically, straight down, and came right dead center into that hangar. Well, he hits with such a terrible impact, and his ammunition load and gasoline, and he didn't have a bomb on board like they carried sometimes. Anyway, that stuff went all over. This fellow and I are there, and I'm welding this hitch onto this truck. And all of a sudden, it amounted to an explosion to us. Now, it blew all the siding off the doggone hangar, almost all of it out, and just left a skeleton there. I guess it blew me outside. It blew me about 30 foot out from where I was, because that's where I found myself, and he was out there too. And I don't think I ran out there, because I think it all happened too fast for me to do that. But I do know that I was, where I had been working was about 30 feet from where that airplane came through, and went through the cement of the floor, and then went 9 feet into solid coral rock below that, because that's what Midway is, it's coral rock. No dirt. So anyway, that was kind of close. There was a vertical column between me, exactly between me and where that airplane augured in. And there was a 2x4 wired against that column, and I don't know what the purpose of the 2x4 was, but it was there. And later on, I picked out a 50 caliber bullet, hit the steel column there through the 2x4 and into the steel column. It was still stuck in the 2x4. I had to dig it out. That was exactly halfway, or not halfway, but it was exactly between me and where that went in. So I figured that's the one that would have gotten me if it hadn't been for the steel column. So I don't know, I was just being protected all around.
My name is Churchill James Campbell, and I was in the United States Naval Reserve. I started as an ensign and wound up as a lieutenant commander. Well, I started out in submarines. I started on the S-48, which was built in 1921 and was SS-159. I finished up on the Parche, which was built in 1943 and was the SS-384, the 384th submarine our country had. We were on the patrol for about, just over 30 days in patrol area in the South China Sea. The Steelhead made contact with a very large convoy, and they gave us a course and speed. We picked up one escort who was headed almost directly at us. We avoided him, and then we could hear depth charges up ahead of us quite a ways. We saw a number of ships all headed directly at us. The other escorts of the convoy had apparently gone up and were working and depth charging the Steelhead after her initial submerged contact or attack on the convoy. The first ship that we encountered was a small freighter that set up to the torpedo director control was very fast. We fired 3 torpedoes and missed when he changed course radically. We then pulled right on past him, fired 2 torpedoes from the stern tube, and he disintegrated rapidly. The captain then picked out a large tanker for the second attack. We went in, fired 3 torpedoes, again pretty fast in order to get the shots in. We made 1 hit. The tanker caught on fire, but it did not sink. So at this point, the captain picked out a second tanker, another large one. This time we fired our 3 torpedoes for 2 hits. You fire 3 torpedoes, that tanker took 2 hits, went down rapidly. By this time, the first tanker was getting underway pretty well, still burning. Went in, we fired 2 torpedoes at it and sank it. One of the larger ships in the convoy was passing in very good position for another torpedo attack, so the captain just came to all stop. We fired our torpedoes. We got hits, but by this time, the escorts for the convoy had returned back to look after their brood, and one of them was obviously trying to ram us. Happened to be my job to find that sort of thing. The captain twice ordered right full rudder to avoid the contact. However, during the confusion and the other attacks, he'd forgotten we were at all stop. I more or less reluctantly reminded him we were at all stop. He immediately ordered all ahead flank and then followed up by give me all you've got. Yeah, 3,200 horsepower against 2 hard-over propellers, rudders. That submarine turned on a dime, faster than, thank gosh. I know the patrol report said that escort missed it by 90 yards. If it was 90 inches, I would be amazed. We started to pull clear in order to reload torpedoes under a little more favorable conditions and get out of some of the gunfire. We had actually passed by several of the ships in the convoy close enough under their stern that they could not depress their big deck guns to get to us. As we pulled clear that night, very shortly we came nose to nose with a very, very large transport. It was the biggest ship I'd ever seen. It happened very rapidly. The captain very quickly fired 3 torpedoes down the throat, right straight at his bow. He fired 1 just on either side slightly, in case the transport changed course. We then pulled clear to our about 600 to 700 yards, fired 2 torpedoes at the beam of the transport, and she went down rapidly. Yeah, the Navy was very good to me. It was a tremendous benefit. Yeah, being in the service isn't all beer and Skittles, but it's been a wonderful learning thing for a lot of men and women.
How do you think it changed your experience being a submariner, and how it impacted your life?
Oh, it changed the fundamental way you think.
I'd like to read a paragraph that I found about that battle. On 31 January 1968, Congressional Medal of Honor recipient John Canley led 147 Mud Marines into Way City, Vietnam. Awaiting them are 10,000 NVA regulars. For 3 days, Alpha Company, 1st Battalion, 1st Marines battled these overwhelming odds minus commissioned officers. They were outgunned and outmanned, but they had the gunny. That's you.
Who wrote that?
The Gunny is a book
Yeah.
that's about this, and this was a review of that book. Unfortunately, Sergeant Gonzalez was killed at Way City.
Right.
What would you be willing to share with me about that event?
About what event?
The Way City battle.
Well, I think that, in Alpha Company's situation, I'm glad that we had a couple of true leaders there. They were both of them friends of mine. Sergeant Gonzalez, Sergeant Burkhardt. What we really had in common was the fact that they were on their second tour in Vietnam. So they were experienced NCOs. And I think that because of them, because of their experience, we got through that, although one was killed and one was seriously wounded. But without a doubt, their experience fighting that type of war was what got us through that. The problem in Vietnam was the leadership problem from the top down. The war in Vietnam was a very strange war. Marines were used to fighting that front, the enemy is there and you're here, right?
Right.
All of a sudden you're fighting a war where you don't know where the enemy is,
Or who.
And when right, they're all around you, they're among you. So you could only trust the Marines. In my situation, the Marines.
Mm-hmm.
If I had Vietnamese Havans attached to my platoon, they were just there. In other words, they were there with that Marine. I'm not going to have them on watch by themselves, because you don't know who they are.
Weren't sure you could trust them.
Exactly. You're expected to possess all that knowledge and the leadership principles and traits. You have all these young Marines plus this lieutenant that you got to train, and you don't know anything. So how can you train someone when you don't know yourself?
Right.
Right? How can you train these young Marines? How can you train this lieutenant? Right? Because you're the one that has all the experience. You're that Marine that's been in, say, 8, 10 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're the one with all the experience, you're the one with all the knowledge.
You're talking about yourself, and people in your
I'm
position.
talking about an infantry unit leader.
Right.
Right. An infantry unit leader. The one that's actually out in the field leading those young Marines. Right? So you come back after being away, say 6 years, and you're in charge, and you don't know. So if you don't know something, you don't have the confidence to lead these people, right? You don't know how to train them because you don't know yourself. You've been out seagoing, or you've been at an embassy, or you've been out on recruiting.
More administrative type of
Exactly,
duty.
exactly. Those bee builders.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually what happened in the Marine Corps for Vietnam. My Marines, because they believed in me, they would follow me to death. And I had no doubt about that.
The company commander was seriously wounded and had to be evacuated. A company gunny Canley, took over the company.
The process only takes the time you choose to share your experience. You pick the time and place, and tell what you choose, your way. So, how does this happen?
A. I bring gear, you talk.
B. Oh yeah, there is paperwork to fill out.
C. I edit the video, add some graphics and images, and send you a video to review.
D. You review the video and let me know what to fix. E. When you say it's okay, I send DVDs to you for the family and friends. Did I mention there is no cost to the vet? I also send a DVD to the Library of Congress. It takes a while for that history to appear on their website. But here is how you will know. This is the website for the Veterans History Project. There is a link to a searchable database of all the archived histories. When you click on that link, a page appears where you can select how you want to search. You can select a specific conflict period or other criteria. Selecting all conflicts a few months ago reports there were 112,472 histories in the archive. A list of histories appears below. Selecting a history will display the particulars about that history. Returning to the main page, a link is available that will display a list of other information about the project. Of course, there are also many videos on YouTube. I have also put some of my videos on my YouTube channel. So, don't wait a day longer. My last video was with a veteran who celebrated his 100th birthday the day after we did his history. Thank you for your attention and look forward to hearing from you.